Hi there, welcome to this next video from Howard Piano Industries. I'm Steve Howard, and today we're going to be talking about a question I often get from our customers is how much can a piano technician make? So we're going to give you some general guidelines and ideas about how to calculate how much you can make as a piano technician. Maybe you're just starting out or thinking about starting out learning to become a piano technician and just wonder how much income potential that you can have as a piano technician. Now the biggest thing is, like any self-employed job that you have, it all depends on how much work that you can get. But we're going to give you a general idea, based on rates, average rates for a piano tuning and so forth, and show you how to calculate what you'll be able to make. Now, piano tuning work and piano technician work varies as you go into different parts of the country or even different parts of the world. But we're going to take, like, say, for example, if you live in New York City or Los Angeles or one of these large cities, the cost or price of a tuning or piano technician work is going to be much, much higher than in an area like Kansas or here in Wisconsin or somewhere that's a more rural area. And obviously more rural areas are generally going to have lower price for what you can get for piano work than it would be for a large city, a very large city like Los Angeles or New York or Chicago. So we're gonna just use some numbers based on an average, and what you can do is you can investigate what the price of piano tuning is in your area. You can call some piano technicians in your area, just ask what they charge for tuning a piano, and that kind of gives you an idea. Now, in general, obviously not all of your work that you do as a piano technician is going to be tuning, but you can kind of figure out, because you're going to be basing your hourly rate on other work based on off of the price of your what you charge for a tuning. So in general, the way you want to price other work, your hourly rate, good general rule to follow is to have your hourly rate at half the price of what a tuning would cost. So for example, if you charged $80 for a piano tuning, which is, I think, at least at this moment in time here in 2014, a pretty average rate, at least in this area and a lot of areas, for a piano tuning. And so your hourly rate for other work, say you did repair or regulating or any kind of work like that, your hourly rate should generally be around $40. Now, of course, if you charge $100 for tuning, maybe your hourly rate should be $50. So that's kind of the general rule to follow. That's that you use when calculating price for the work that you do outside of tuning. Now, if say we take that general premise and say, like, we go back to the average price of a tuning being $80. And again, that can fluctuate based on where you live and what the market's like in your area. But an average piano tuner can generally tune about 4 pianos a day, in a comfortable schedule. Some days it'll be a little bit more, or if you've got other work, it may be a little bit less. But if we just take that average of 4 pianos a day, at $80 a piano, that's $320 per day. Okay, and if you did that 5 days a week, like an average work week, then that would be $320. I'm sorry, $1,600 for a week. And say you work for 50 weeks of the year. Obviously, if you're a piano technician working for yourself, you don't get paid vacation, so we'll figure in a couple weeks of vacation into our calculations here. So if you did it for 15 weeks a year, that's basically $80,000 a year. Okay, now you got to remember that $80,000 as a self-employed person is a little bit different than it is for somebody who would go out and get a salary from a company making a salary of $80,000, because you have other expenses to figure into that calculation, such as you don't have your health insurance paid for, so you may have to spend so much per month on health insurance. You've got, obviously, if you're driving around to different jobs, you've got gas and mileage to figure in that may be more than a person driving to a normal job. And obviously you get to write these things off, but they are expenses that you do want to figure in. The other thing is your taxes are higher. Okay, you've got self-employment tax, at least here in the USA, that you got to figure in that isn't an expense when you have a normal job. That part of the portion of the Social Security tax is paid for by your employer. So those are things, and I'm not a tax advisor, so those are maybe some things you'd want to check with your tax accountant or a tax advisor on to get the best direction on that. But these are just some things, and also tools. You do have to buy tools. To keep up, and from time to time tools do wear out, so you gotta figure in tools and supplies that you need to have for your work. So and often if you work on pianos, you often will need a space to work on them. Okay, so you may need either a workshop or some kind of space to have to be able to work on piano. So these are all expenses that you want to figure in and be aware of when you're calculating how much you can make. Now, if we take that $80,000 a year, maybe, and this is given the fact that you have enough work to keep you busy all day for 5 days a week for 50 weeks a year. And many piano technicians do. Maybe in your area you've got a shortage of piano technicians, which I feel like we're coming to that point in time that as piano technicians retire, there's not a lot of new piano technicians coming around, that we are going to have a shortage of piano technicians, I feel, in the near future. And so in that case, you may have a lot of business, or as much or more work than you care to have. So that's a good problem to have, right? So or you may have be in an area where a piano technician just retired and he had a full schedule, and somebody has to take care of those pianos. I know at least a couple guys that I know nearby here that did that. They don't live right in this immediate area, but in areas close by, that they were able to take over the work of a retiring piano technician. So that's always a nice way to get your work handed down to you. So or maybe you decide, well, you want to be a little more ambitious and tune 5 pianos a day. And there will be some days when you can comfortably tune 5. Say you're tuning in a school or a church where you've got 3 or 4 or 5 pianos all in one place, obviously without the travel time between tunings. You can accomplish more in the same amount of time than you could as if you had to travel from one home or one place to another for each individual piano. So generally, at least I do, and I think a lot of pianos tuners do, that if you've got more than one piano in one location, I usually give a discount, say like $10 off each additional piano past the first piano. So you can figure your pricing, and we'll have another video that'll talk about in more detail about how to set your prices. But this should hopefully give you a general idea of how much a piano technician can make. Say, for example, you're in Los Angeles, where maybe the average price of piano tuning is $120. And you still tune the 4 pianos a day for 5 days a week for 50 days a year, you're looking at $120,000. If you tune 5 pianos a day, and going back to that $80 price per tuning, then you can figure in $100,000 a year, okay, based on 5 pianos a day, 5 days a week, 50 weeks a year. Okay, so you can do the math and figure that out. And obviously there are other ways, and we'll have another video that we're planning on making that will go into more detail about different ways that a piano technician can make money besides just tuning, regulating pianos. There are some other ways. So make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you get updated when that video comes out. Or you can visit our website. It's howardpianoindustries.com.